Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of IK NHL Daily Talk. And today, Iacob's not here, but I have a special guest and I will let him introduce himself. So say what's up.
Hey, it's Kalan. I'm just here for the special guest announcement. So, welcome aboard, and this is my first time. Hope you enjoy.
This is peak. Nah, bro's gonna enjoy it, I think. Yeah, obviously I'm staying in Kelowna, as I've said on the podcast. I'm pretty sure I literally said that I was going to Kelowna, like on one of the Spotify episodes, and you just didn't listen. So if you'd listen, I think I literally spoiled it.
No, fair enough. Hey, man, home of the Rockets. Good hockey going on. We got a good prospect and Keith McGinley kicking about. So yeah, it's pretty fun to watch.
That's fair, but yeah, I mean, on that note, I guess let's jump right into the news, which, I mean, albeit not really a news topic, but Keon, what do you think? Do you think Ovi's coming back?
Well, after hearing his big announcement, I mean, we did see the little trolling his managerial staff did on Twitter there, saying 2 more years. But absolutely, after
Yeah.
hearing he said multiple times that it's pretty much not going to be his last game, I think safe to say that he really does want to come back to that Caps game. I don't think he's here just for the 1,000 points, but more or less here to just lead the team, really close off the book, and just wrap up what he's accomplished there in Washington.
Yeah, I can't disagree. And I mean, personally, I'm thinking like minimum one more year. Like, I
It,
don't, I mean, I don't see, like 3 years, but, a year or two, and then he goes back to Russia and joins his team and plays there because I know he said, like, throughout it all, he wants to finish his career back home.
Yeah, absolutely. He did want to finish back home in his homeboy club, Dynamo Moskva. I mean, it makes sense. He still wears the pads just like all year, every day, so it absolutely does make sense. And especially from a standpoint like him, just do a farewell tour, really go back and appreciate and pay homage to where he kind of grew up in.
Absolutely. But yeah, we'll leave it at that and hopefully Ovi sticks around, but we'll see. But regarding a couple guys who will be joining national teams, Ryan Leonard is going to join the US national team at the IHF World Championship, and obviously he hopes to join the nation, for the 2028 World Cup along with possibly the 2030 Olympics, but yeah, he'll be joining them for the World Championships, and hopefully for him it'll be for the best, and we'll see how he does.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it would help with his development, really get him going and put some pressure under his end. Make sure he's prepared for any playoff game he's may or may not actually accomplish and get into. Though we did have a sneaky good season this year with the 45 points in 75 games with Washington. It was really impressive to see. So hopefully he can keep that up and perform that energy the same way with the U.S. team.
Yeah, sorry, Ryan Leonard. We shortened your season by 7 games. Blame, I don't remember who it was on the Oilers, but it was someone. But
Sonny Milano.
this guy loves Sonny Milano, by the way. He's like the biggest Sonny Milano like enjoyer of all time, and he wishes to get a jersey for him too.
Oh, absolutely, man. He's still ducking me.
We both tried to follow him on Instagram, and unfortunately, he's still avoiding us. But Milano feels hook us up.
One day I'll get that Columbus Monster legend.
But regarding another player, of course, joining another national team, we have John Tavares, who will be joining Team Canada, which obviously, exciting after not being on the Olympic team. And I mean, he's definitely a good player, and he will add to this Canadian roster. And hopefully, they don't get embarrassed by Denmark again this season.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. He does bring a lot of, experience and just proper, really development, two-way forward, proper energy. They need that with Team Canada. They need, especially after the mistakes of, I'd say, the Olympics. Defense might be their number one focus with this tournament here to really make a good comeback. I mean, we did see the shortcomings within finishing and then just handling the pressure. But I think John Tavares will really bring some stability to that locker room, especially. And his points are, nothing to scoff at, but also nothing to really hide under either. 71 points in 82 games, full season, really good, powerful guy. And he's just all around just a really solid player to have on that team.
Absolutely. And then, of course, through his, career with the men's Canada senior national team, he has 40 points through 41 games through 2010 all the way to 2024. And yeah, impressive numbers. And of course, John Tavares, I mean, Islanders fans may hate him, but he's still a damn good player.
Yeah, absolutely.
But one guy who didn't play this year and will finally make his first appearance at Worlds is Alexander Barkov for Team Finland. And, for Panthers fans, let us know, in the comments below what you think. But I mean, personally, I mean, I'm just excited to finally get to see him play again. I mean, obviously, the last time I saw him play, it wasn't, what I wanted to see, and unfortunately, he tore his ACL in training camp. But good to see that he's back, and we'll at least get to play some games this season at Worlds.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's good for him to get back in the hockey. He's probably absolutely devastated from hearing the Panthers loss, and then on top of that, not contributing one bit just because of that injury. I know. I mean, personally, from just a standpoint on a player side of things, I mean, the guilt is immeasurable for sure. Not being there for his team, watching
Hmm.
them crumble that fast, just because he brings that really hard stability they need for that Panthers team to succeed, and he will really show off in the Finland team, I do imagine.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we all know how good this guy is, especially his full 200-foot game and everything. Like, he can do it all.
That'll absolutely bring that lockdown that Sumoy needs to really push it forward to compete with these
Mhm.
North American teams.
Don't be surprised if he's the captain either for Team Finland at all.
No, absolutely not.
Okay, what's our next news topic? Obviously, more of the rumors, and then, of course, some previews for the playoffs. But this is all of Panos and Puck Empire's opinions. But Matt Dumba, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, what an absolute fallout from that career, High times and down in the metro and all that. And just, I don't even know what to say, honestly. It's just a crazy, crazy thing to see how far he's really fallen from Arizona.
But as of now, we just know that the Penguins have placed defenseman Matt Dumba on unconditional waivers for purpose of mutual contract termination. So I'm unsure of exactly what happened. Maybe he's unhappy playing in Wilkes-Barre and wants an NHL opportunity, but it doesn't make sense to terminate your contract this close to the end of the season. And personally, if I think Matt Dumba should have just stuck it out and tried to earn a spot back in the NHL next season. But obviously, don't know the full scenario. If we hear more, we will let you guys know. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have respect for this guy, and I mean, it'd be really funny to get a Coyotes jersey with his name on it. But
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
but yeah, no, he needs to improve and play some better hockey and be more consistent.
yeah, absolutely. I think you covered that pretty damn good, honestly. There's not much else to add. I mean, hopefully, all the best in his career, and hopefully, he can really just show what he was back with the Wild, even at the
Mm-hmm.
minimum, for his next team.
Well, if he gets another opportunity at this point, because obviously that contract he signed in Dallas was pretty rough, and I think it's the contract, honestly, because he still has another year on that deal as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and it was a little too high for that performance. I think it's like upwards of $34 million a year. Nothing, it's pretty bad for a guy you'd expect to sit in that, 3-4 spot. It's just really embarrassing at the minimum.
100%. But moving on to some good news, Rick Bowness has earned himself a single year extension as head coach of the Columbus Blue Jackets. And Bowness, who is 71 years of age, which, in the way of NHL coaches on the older side, but in this season with the Blue Jackets, he went 21, 11, and 5 with a 635, points percentage through the 37 games that he was their coach this season. And obviously, under Bonus, the Blue Jackets were pretty good. And I mean, I think bringing him back is the right move because obviously, they were a victim of a strong Eastern Conference. And if they were in the West, they're in a spot right now. And sucks they didn't make it. And I know, obviously, some of his comments to end the year were quite interesting. But no, it's a good move. And I'm excited to see what he can do with this Blue Jackets team next year. And we'll see what moves they make in the offseason to improve this roster.
Yeah, I think that change of pace in Columbus really did help rejuvenate his coaching career. I mean, he does bring over 2,000 some odd games of experience. That's 5 decades of pure hard coaching. I really think it is important, especially with Rick Bowness and just the type of style he plays, to really try and rejuvenate that young core, because it's just unruly in that Columbus locker room. And we did see it. That's how they collapsed to that near end point. But I think Rick Bowness is really starting to get a hold of these boys at the end of the year, maybe even next year, we'll definitely see major improvements. And at the minimum, in locker room, rejuvenation, energy, and I think it'll really bring a next big bite into their comeback.
Absolutely, and a Blue Jackets fan is the top comment here, one of the top comments. This is the happiest I've been since 2019, specifically 7 years ago today, when the Blue Jackets, swept the Tampa Bay Lightning in what was a series where the Lightning were supposed to destroy them. But obviously, we're not here to talk hockey history today, but we will be talking about the playoffs, obviously, here later today, and I will be doing a bracket, but we will be saving that for an episode later. And Oh, low battery. I'll plug it in just a second once I pull off our next topic. But for the obviously for the Hawks, their expectation, according to Alex Vlasic, is playoffs next season, and we'll just cover this real quick. But I don't doubt it. That Western Conference is pretty weak, and I definitely think that they can potentially make the playoffs.
Well, yeah, hopefully they can make some more improvements during the offseason, maybe acquire a few more proper punishment players, bring some hard hitting energy to the team. Absolutely. I mean, they needed to defend that young core, and on top of that, I think, they just lacked the experience this year, which is totally fair considering how they're going through a rebuild right now. I think they are taking strides in the right direction. Obviously, there's a few backwards. We can name some, but other than that, honestly, I think they're really going to bring the punch for next year, and we kind of saw that near the end of the year how they started to really pick up their game.
Absolutely. And also, this was a team that, through the early parts of the season was also in the race and legitimately looked like they had a chance. So I think they're not too far. And with Tyler Bertuzzi, Andre Burakovsky, and Ryan Donato in your top six, surely that'll happen.
Yeah, I mean they do need to add a stronger top six core, though. Yet again, they have tons of players in their development system, and I really think a couple of them will really start to take those reins, and we can see some proper development with those boys surely in the coming years.
Okay, hear me out. They get Robo out of Dallas and pair him with Bedard.
I mean, considering Robo is not signing with Dallas, as we all know, I really do believe Chicago is a good fit for them. I mean, they're going to have a huge cap space opening again.
Mhm.
And then considering that and their move to push for a really young, powerful team, I think it'll just add on top of that, especially since Bedard is a proper line mate.
Maybe after they trade Bedard in a first overall pick for Matthews.
Yeah, I'd
Okay,
rather
that's
not.
that's a bad idea. Don't do that. Chicago, please, if you're listening, no, no, no. Obviously, Merzlikins wants to be the starter in Columbus, and Bonus basically just told him, be better.
Yeah, honestly, love the energy coming from Bonus.
But yeah, moving away from him, of course, and moving to another team, we have the New Jersey Devils who have hired Florida. What am I talking about? Florida Panthers assistant general manager for this prior season, Sonny Mehta, as their next general manager. And Mehta's 48-year-old analytical oriented manager and was part of the New Jersey analyst team from the 2014 season through the 2018 season prior to joining Florida, where he won 2 Stanley Cups. But I guess he's going back to where it all started for him at the pro level.
Yeah, I mean, we can take away those Stanley Cups because it doesn't really mean a whole lot, but he was a part of that head office team that really put together a very strong Panthers team. And I think that experience, just learning from all the guys up there, will really help bring a new edge to New Jersey, especially since they've been in such a big rut. Even considering on paper they should have made these playoffs year and year again.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing a guy with a fresh, clean slate, never touched this before, I think it'll be a really good thing to just put him on the ropes and let him ride. I mean, at the end of the day, he is just an analytical guy, though, yet again, that career was very, very good. So maybe you can bring some of that edge and help with the development and potential adds to that team.
Well, absolutely. And also, I don't think New Jersey really has anyone at this point right now who is overly analytical, and having guys who properly analyze players and look at the advanced metrics and stuff will be of good help, especially when you're adding those bottom six players in the offseason to try to solidify the depth of this roster.
Yeah, absolutely. They just needed a guy from the outside in to really bring a new, different style and perspective within that New Jersey organization. I just think the old thinking isn't working, and they needed to step in a different direction. I think this was a good way forward.
Yeah, also they definitely need to change up their defense a bit. I mean, they have six guys locked up, but six guys who I don't think are the answer altogether. I mean, Luke Hughes, you're not moving him anytime soon, but Hamilton's a guy I think you need to move on from this offseason. On top of that, maybe you need to look elsewhere from Markstrom because he's getting up there in age and he's starting to show signs that maybe he's not the goalie he used to be as well.
Yeah, his play has been surely declining since the end of the Calgary days, and we can just see he's just becoming totally unhinged and realizing that he just can't keep up like he used to. And it shows with his performance this year, too, under 900 save percentage. It's one of the lower parts of his career, so I think it's a good
Mm-hmm.
idea to just move on, maybe even bring up one of their young prospects up and just let him ride.
Yeah. I do still think, Markstrom can still be a serviceable guy at the NHL level. I do think in the right position, he could be a solid backup, but I don't think New Jersey's the right place for him anymore. And like I said, they need to move on.
Yeah, absolutely.
But speaking of moving on, we will move on. And, you know, Macklin Celebrini has recorded the most points by a Shark player ever in their history, and at only 19 years of age, he recorded 115 points this season. And personally, I think if the Sharks had made the playoffs, he wins the Hart Trophy, no question about it.
Yeah, I mean, this guy had the best year of any Sharks player at a 19-year-old age. I mean, what else can you say? That's abnormally, it's abnormal. It's crazy. It's insane. We don't see this every time. It's a once in a generation talent type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just so impressive that the kids really just shown up and taken the ropes of the team, really brought a whole different perspective. We can see that in the locker room too. You see these videos, they're having great chemistry. Him, Will Smith, Tyler Toffoli, etc., etc. They're all just getting along so well. And I think in the future, just having that energy, having Macklin Celebrini on that team is going to really bring them right up there. And we're going to see a lot of the Mac show for a very long time.
100%. I do still think, this team, like, I think their goaltending, Askarov, I think will develop into a legitimate number one. But I do still think they need a couple defensive pieces before they're truly at that elite level and this team can truly compete. But they have a lot of young pieces. I like the direction they're trending. They've also got a couple young pieces they could probably move on from, too. But no, I mean, we'll see what happens. But yeah, congrats to Macklin. And you passed a very good player in Joe Thornton.
Yeah, geez, congrats, kid. That's just amazing.
Well, Jumbo Joe was. I mean, we all know how good he was. Like, he was absolutely absurd in his prime.
Oh yeah, it was a beautiful career. We all loved it too.
But yeah. Regarding, obviously the Art Ross Trophy, though, now, and the actual leading point scorer of the league, which obviously McDavid takes home his sixth Art Ross Trophy as he led the league this season with 138 points. And I'm going to be honest, it's not even amazing at this point. It's just partially it's expectation. He's at the level where you expect him to do great things, and him winning another Art Ross Trophy it's just another one added to the collection.
Yeah, he's always in that debate of best player in the NHL. Obviously he's top three, no doubt, maybe even top one in some people's eyes.
I think he's the best.
Fair enough. But yeah, just another 138 point year. I mean, I think everyone expected just as much, if not very similar, point production for this guy. It's McDavid. How else are we supposed to think of him? I think he'll just keep going on it, especially since he has that such a good top line and great line mates up in Edmonton.
100%. Yeah.
I think he just really needs a cup now. He needs a different type of cup. He needs a Stanley, and
He needs one that doesn't look like it's got a. Well, he needs a bowl like that.
yeah, exactly.
One that's a little bit longer and a little bit more prestigious.
But yeah, six Art Ross. What else are you gonna say? The guy's a legend. He's really getting up his name, and obviously he's gonna be a Hall of Famer when it's all said and done.
First ballot Hall of Famer, regardless of whether he wins, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
But regarding another trophy, and I think we're actually nearing the end of our news. We've got just a few more topics, but Nathan MacKinnon wins his first, I believe, his first Art Ross. Well, we just spoke about that. Maurice Richard Trophy, and I mean, he had an unreal season as he scored 53 times, and Cole Caulfield was making a push at the end of the season there to catch up, but unfortunately, Caulfield ended at 51 and he ran out of games, and MacKinnon gets it. But no, I mean, MacKinnon, obviously, he's been incredible and he's deserved to win, the big hardware, which obviously he has one hard under his belt, but he's never really gotten his hands on the Art Ross because Kucherov and McDavid keep snagging it right from under his nose.
Yeah, I mean, Shooter McKinnon this year, 53. Big number right there. I mean, obviously, whether you can say whatever you want about McKinnon, even missing that goal for Team Canada at the end of the day. Yeah, I mean, a lot of his goals, I'm pretty sure at least 3/4 of it, or sorry, like 1/3 of it did come from empty nets, maybe even a little less. You can fact check me on that later, but at all said and done, hitting that 50-point marker, that's really not happening to every single player, especially just your average Joe. So you can say whatever you want, but Nate Dogg is definitely just up there with the best forwards in the league currently.
100%. And yeah, you don't score 53. Even if a lot of them are empty netters, you don't get 53 if you aren't an incredible player.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. You can make any excuse you want, but that won't take away the fact that he won it, and he won it well.
Yeah, and I mean, this might be the first and maybe the last, but don't be surprised if he wins it again next year. But for another trophy for two Colorado Avalanche goaltenders, which obviously because the two goaltenders split the net this season, they split the trophy. And Scott Wedgwood and Mackenzie Blackwood have claimed the William M. Jennings Trophy as the goalies for the team with the fewest goals allowed during the NHL regular season. And you could say, rather than just being a goaltending award, this is a full team award because obviously, out of every team in the league, the Avalanche allowed the fewest goals. And I mean, no surprise as they got the President's Trophy. McKinnon got the Maurice Richard, and they didn't allow a lot of goals. This Avalanche team is very good, and you'll see my bracket later, but I have mixed feelings, and I do think that potentially the President's Trophy curse could maybe come into play.
Yeah, I mean, these guys come from the depths of hell in terms of teams prior, and honestly, it's really good to just see them excel. I mean, we got Blackwood at a 904 at the end of the year, and then obviously Scott Wedgwood leading the league at 921.
Yeah.
It's just absurd, seeing these two guys really come up the ropes from nothing and just show off. Honestly, there's not much more to it. Just straight show off. It's an anomaly for this year, and hopefully they can just keep it going for years to come. Though we'll just see. It could be a write off. Could just be a many year thing.
Played Xbox a few times with Wedge. He's a cool dude. I know there's just so many random comments you see, but man, this is a former Devils tandem too, by the way. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of these boys did spend his time in San Jose, unfortunately.
The other one got to enjoy time in Dallas and actually get pretty close a couple times, but
Yeah.
no, obviously two great goalies. And who are you starting going in game one? Personally, I'm starting Wedgwood.
I mean, yeah, we're just gonna ride the ropes and just say Wedgwood again. I mean, of course, the 921 is nothing that really, you can't really pass by that, especially if that's your goalie in your spot. I mean, if I'm up in that sort of setting, I'd really choose Scott Wedgwood, ride the momentum, keep it going, keep the 921, and obviously just bounce it off because yet again he is on those higher age 30-year-old players. So we just need to really balance that 1A 1B system and just keep it going. I think they go.
Yeah, but obviously, if Wedgwood falters, you still got a good extra option. Regardless, I mean, you could start either, and if I had to either of these goalies in Edmonton, they're starting every game.
Yeah, a lot of teams are lucky to just have one good goaltender. So for them having two is an extreme anomaly for sure.
Right, but you know what, Kalan, I'm gonna let you introduce this one since this is your team after all.
Yeah, being a Vancouver Canucks fan's pain in the ass to say lightly. Years of disappointment, not much excitement, but this thing we can get excited for depending on how you think. Patrick Alvin has been fired as of today officially from being the GM. I mean, he is 51. He's been with Van for 5 whole seasons. Mr. Sweet himself, bringing together a bunch of Pedersons. Honestly, it's expected. We did see that even just recently, a lot of agents did say the front house with Vancouver is the worst to deal with, and I'd absolutely agree. The ownership with the Alcalinis has been a problem since those playoff games back in, when we rioted 2011, 2010. And then just even the recent ones, when we blew it all to Edmonton with our injury problems. I mean, yet again, he built that team up real damn good, but we just couldn't keep it together. And he put all our eggs in one basket, and this is what we got out of it. So at the end of the day, I really hope it brings a new face to Vancouver. I do not think he was the absolute problem. I do believe that still is beyond, general manager and hockey operations staff. But I hope this puts us in a right way in the 5 direction. He had a great career, he had a bad career. It all depends on how you see his moves. But at the end of the day, he's gone.
Yeah. Weren't Canucks fans praising this guy the last 3 years?
I mean, to an extent, yes, putting together that team with Elias Lindholm, Pia Suter, etc. Yeah, absolutely. This guy was seen as Jesus Christ in a way for the Vancouver system. But that's because the people just needed hope, and he brought hope. And unfortunately, it just came short, and it started to fall off once he traded JT Miller. And I think that was starting to really give out office questions onto what the direct team that was moving.
Yeah, and I honestly think, having to move on from Quinn Hughes, and obviously Rutherford made a statement about that today, but after you move a guy like that, and I mean, this team's clearly in a rebuild right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's game on for that rebuild now. As it's undisputed. You can't really say much else, especially when you lost JT Miller and Quinn Hughes. And then all that tandem core, aside from 5 whole players from that playoff run, I mean, there's not much else to bank on, especially since you're running Marco Rossi as your number 1 center. It's just a really tough time, and hopefully whatever GM picks up can really bring some proper centers, bring some proper forwards, really try to rejuvenate that locker room because there's honestly cancer going on, and they certainly need a change.
And as Kellen would say, fire Adam Foot.
Yeah, God bless. Fire Adam Foot.
But no, I mean, yeah, obviously. I mean, I do like some of the pieces you got there, but yeah, you need to build further. And maybe McKenna. I mean, regardless, you guys are getting a top 3 pick this year. And I mean, McKenna, Stenberg, or Verhoff, you're getting a good player regardless.
Yeah, it's a good spot to be as a Vancouver fan. We got tons of picks coming up, 2 first rounds, you got tons of second round picks, et cetera, et cetera. So, having that potential 20th round pick as well as you got, McKenna, Stenberg, or Verhoff, it's a really good spot to be, and you can't really complain, especially since this draft is quite stacked. I hope at the end of the day, though, they get a coach that's fitting for young players that can really help bring these young players in and really just show that Vancouver is home and it's a good team to play in at the end of the day.
There you go. Obviously, as an Oilers fan, I'd love nothing more than just shit on this team. But, I mean, I got to respect it, and I do think this is a good move for the Canucks. And
Yes.
I try to be unbiased, but sometimes it slips up, and I mean, it is what it is, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I understand.
Yeah, but a few more teams for obviously, the Team Canada Worlds, or wait, a few more teams. What am I talking? A few more players, which, along with John Tavares, Mark Scheifele, Ryan O'Reilly, and Robert Thomas have been put on the roster. Which I believe if I do this, nope, I don't know. I can't do anything. I'm on a computer. I think. Oh, it's right here. This little arrow.
Yes, sir.
There you go. Kellen pointed it out. Thank you, Kellen. I appreciate it. But all 3 of those guys will join Team Canada, and Ryan O'Reilly had a real good year with Stamkos and obviously Forsberg on the Preds and nearly got him into the playoffs. Then Robert Thomas, we all know he's excellent too. And Scheifele had over 100 points. So
yeah, Scheifele, diamond in the rough, especially this year, really just been shadowed by everyone else's career, especially the young guns. I think he's had a great career, and he was, to some people, is the great deserving of that Olympic spot, and this will really show that he's deserving to stay within Team Canada's system and always play on that proper big team. I think he will provide a great big offensive push to it. Don't know much about his defensive game at all, but at the least he'll provide some very good leadership roles, put in that top 6 play, and we hope to see him have a good year.
Kieran Jarvis will be going instead. No, you're wrong. The joke, like, yeah, you shut it, bro. Okay, and then final news point before we'll get on to our scores and whatnot, obviously, from yesterday's games. And we have no, starting goaltenders, and we can't make any picks today, but you guys will get brackets instead. And, Cal, at the bare minimum, I'll get you to send me your bracket, and we'll show it off if you want to do that,
absolutely.
too. But Stars fans, let us know what you think about this, of course, because you guys know the player better than we do, I'm sure. But Nils Lundqvist has signed a 2-year extension at a dollar value of $1.75 million for each of those 2 seasons, so a total of 3.5. And Lundqvist has 3 goals, 11 points through 52 games played with Dallas this season, and I'm pretty sure he got an injury at some point, but as a third pair defender, I think he's fine, and it is a low dollar value at this point. The cap's still rising, and truth be told, decent defender, decent cap hit, and if you need to trade him, you can pretty easily flip that contract.
Yeah, of course, you're just getting an overall solid 2-way guy within Niels Lundqvist. I mean, nothing special in the points game, but absolutely does bring an defensive punch, to this very needing Dallas team, especially since their core's starting to get a little old. And I think that having a 25-year-old locked in at under $2 million for a couple of years, give him a try, just wait until you get something better. I think that's a great idea. Or just keep him around, but at the end of the day, solid third pair man.
Rangers legend, by the way, and the Rangers got a first-round pick when they traded this guy, which for them now, that's looking like a good deal.
Yeah, damn good deal, especially. I'd be a little depressed if I was up in the head office there. A little bit of an overpay, but, at the minimum, they did get a good third pairing guy, which they desperately need in Dallas.
And, yeah, he's serviceable. You can play him every day, and at least he'll hold his own. And great deal. He's been solid this season, so that's all I need to hear, because I don't keep up with his game all that much, but yeah, Bruins are excited for the playoffs. Well, I'm glad. I would hope so. But yeah, thank you, Panos and the Puck Empire team. I don't appreciate them as much as I should, because this is where a lot of my news comes from. So we appreciate it for the regular season and obviously going in the playoffs now. But We had 6 games on the schedule for yesterday, and Kalan will get to do a full recap, which he has decided, and we both decided on our own. But he wants to recap. You said the Flames game in full, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I can do that, no problem.
And then I'll do the Oilers game, obviously, which include the Canucks.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. The dumpster fire for sure last night.
But yeah, let's see where we're at for this one, which we're just about half an hour in, so we'll make this quick. But at least for the games, we're only gonna recap the two in full. Aside from that, Kellen, we're just gonna do the score, of course, who won, a little bit of information about the game, and then of course the game-winning goal along with the game-winning goaltender, which I will start and I'll show you how it's done. So we had the Blues visit the Utah Mammoth, and the Blues, as the visitors, would take this one 5-3 over the Utah Mammoth in their final. Both of these two teams' final game of the season. There you go. I figured it out. And, the Blues, despite it being a disappointing season, get the win. And Joel Hofer would get the win after allowing only 3. And Logan Mailloux would get the game winning goal, which that would be the 4th goal for the Blues, for those of you who, don't know where it standed. But, Kellen, take it away with the Ducks and the Preds, and you can look here if you want, or you can pull it up on your phone, which
Oh
I assume
yeah,
he's doing.
Ducks and Preds here. Anaheim wins this one in a big tight stretch here. 5-4. A good old clinch right there with Billy Huso keeping the reins, keeping it close. I love to see it. The kids barely played a whole lot. He just had to shoe in there with an injury. Absolutely keeping it good for Anaheim, and it really showcases he can be a solid backup coming up for these playoffs here, which he has a tight competition with at the Edmonton Oilers up in front.
Mm-hmm.
Troy Terry with the game-winning goal. I mean, we're all not very surprised. Terry, a big offensive veteran presence, and just continuing to show that he can still produce, even if he is on that Anaheim team.
Yeah, Troy Terry, big hitter against the Canucks, by the way.
Yeah, a whole 2 hits this year. I mean, you'd love to see it, guys. Just as good as Garnett Hathaway's point stats. I mean, you don't pay the guy to hit a guy; you pay him to score a goal.
That's true, but the Sharks visiting the Jets now obviously win in dominant fashion as they would take them down 6-1, and of course Alex Nedeljkovic, would only allow one and would get the win, and Will Smith scoring the second goal for the Sharks, which would stand as the game winner. And Will Smith, Macklin Celebrini, Michael Misa, all those guys in San Jose, young core, good win.
Yeah, it's a great practice game, especially coming up for these playoffs, and we'll hope to see more next time.
And then the full game that you're going to recap, Kellen, I'm just going to let you freestyle because I need to use the washroom. So I'll let you take control of the mouse and you can scroll through here. So just cover the score.
Oh, yeah.
And then obviously your goal scores. Go to the box score and pull up the goaltending along with 3 stars and season series. And I'll be back.
Absolutely. So as we all know, Sergachev did make a good debut with 27 whole saves and that no bucket rookie lap. We love to see that, really bringing back that old style hockey we truly miss in this league. Yeah, Flames edged the Kings pretty good, and if honestly, they really just did dominate that whole game. We got them winning 3-1. Big scores, especially coming in that third period for Calgary, putting an end to the good old defensive clinic they have. LA's goal only coming from the second. Pretty depressing there for sure. With the shot total being pretty damn close, though LA edging, of course, 28-20. We did see a lot of points, especially coming out in that second and third from Calgary, really showing that they were just trying to get a punch through. Probably had a good talking to by their head coach through that first period there. So the big 3 stars of the game, as you may or may not expect, big old Sergeyev. So sorry. Uh, he had a 1.0 goals against average. It's a great thing to see from a rookie goaltender. First game in the NHL. It must give him some great confidence, and it really shows his overall development for the coming years, especially with that 964 against a really tough LA playoff team. And then we got Zane Parekh scoring a beautiful goal in that back end there, really putting Calgary up front. It was a great split between the defense, and it honestly really just keeps showcasing why he was drafted in that first overall kind of category. And then, of course, Alex Kopitar, the king himself, just really leading. Not whole much on the point side, but he did play a pretty good defensive clinic, so there's not much to really cry about there. Morgan Frost scoring that first goal for Flames in the second period and to open the scoring in that game 5 minutes in. Just normal timping on that power play, followed by Quinton Byfield. Zane Parekh obviously scoring in that third to keep Calgary up 2-1. And then Joel Farabee with his 20th of the year, ending the game 3-1 for Calgary at an empty net.
That Perret goal was nice too.
Yeah, and then Calgary actually, weirdly enough, leads the series 3-1, closing out the year, really convincingly putting LA in a handbag. It's kind of surprising to see, especially since we all know Calgary's been obviously tanking this year, especially just because they've had some major instability and traded away a lot of their big defensive core to
Mm-hmm.
try to really rejuvenate that rebuild and hopefully bring the Calgary franchise to some sort of relevancy once again.
Yeah, no, well, thank you for the recap. That was great. But yeah, a couple guys who have been really good since getting Calgary. Obviously, Zach Whitecloud, after getting traded for Rasmus Anderson. Cal's run off to the washroom. Haha. And then, of course, Ryan Strome, who they got from Anaheim for a seventh round pick, has been pretty good. And we all knew it was a cap dump at the time. But yeah, no, Flames edge the Kings, and good win for them. But I'll move on to this Oilers game where we will see or would see the Edmonton Oilers win 6-1 on home ice, and obviously the Oilers had a large edge in the shots, almost tripling the Canucks 12 by getting 35 of their own. But Savoy scores his first hat trick, and the Oilers get key win against Canucks to clinch second in the Pacific Division, which obviously, like we said prior, they will be playing the Ducks in round one. And McDavid has 4 assists for Edmonton, which secures number 2 seed in Pacific. Oh, well, Pacific the regular season finale, which I spoiled that already. But obviously, good night for Savoy, and we'll obviously go over your goal scores now. But 1 minute and 58 seconds into the game, Josh Szymanski would record his second goal of the season and the second of his career, assisted by Colton Dock and Evan Bouchard. And then at the 6:48 mark of the first period, Matt Savoy would score the second goal for the Oilers, which would ultimately stand as the game winner. Which, oh man, no, I mean, Kellen, your team is kind of bad. Not gonna lie, but yeah, Evan Bouchard and Connor McDavid would both get an assist on that goal. And then the Canucks, they wouldn't quite go away just yet, and they would have a little push as Ty Mueller would get the first of his career at, with just under 8 minutes left in the first, assisted by Curtis Douglas, who just recently got his first goal as well. And Kevin Langton, weirdly enough, gets himself a point. So
Yeah, Ty Mueller, first NHL point. Must feel good for the kid, especially even since his team lost. I mean, as we saw post game interview, not too happy, but how can you be, especially with that losing team? Though it's good to see he can really put on a show, especially in those 8 games of his career, 6 in this year. At least he got a goal at the end of the day.
that's true. And yeah, it was a pretty nice one, too, where Douglas actually made a nice play just flipping it up the middle. And Ty Mueller in all alone ends up putting it home, and Kalen was happy with that, but he wasn't happy with it for much longer than that.
Yeah, it was a pretty nice wraparound, but that was pretty much the highlight of the game if you're a Canucks fan.
Yep, but moving on to, highlights for the Oilers now, because that's pretty much all it was for the remainder of the night. But Matt Savoy on the power play would get his second of the game, assisted by Connor McDavid. And then, of course, before the end of the first period, with 58 seconds left on the clock, Matt Savoy would get his 18th of the season and his third of the night, which would be the hat trick goal. And, hats would hit the ice in Edmonton. And obviously, McDavid with his third assist of the night, along with Bouchard getting his third assist of the night on that goal, too. But moving to the second period, with just over 3 minutes left on the clock for, obviously, the period, Ryan Nugent Hopkins would get his second. Oops, I forgot a zero at the end. His 20th goal of the season on the power play, assisted by Zach Hyman and Connor McDavid again, which that would be his last point of the night. But that would be all for the second. And then in the third period, Colton Dock, which was just before the halfway point of the period, would score his fifth of the season and second as an Oiler, assisted by Connor Murphy, who, the Oilers also got from the Hawks, and Darnell Nurse, which, man, Nurse, I mean, hopefully he'll be good going in the playoffs, but we'll see. But obviously, 3 stars tonight. Matt Savoy is your first star, getting himself a hat trick, which that's the first of his career, obviously. Then McDavid with 4 assists was your second star. And Colton Dock with his 2 point performance being 1 goal, 1 assist is your third star. And then, of course, we'll go to your goaltending performances, which for the Canucks, we would see Kevin Langton allow 6 on 35 and would have himself an 829 save percentage. And then moving over to the Oilers, we would see Connor Ingram, and he would have himself a 917 as he would allow 1 on 12, but he didn't really have a lot of traffic, which I already spoke about that, Kellen. But Kellen just pointed out Kyle Davidson extension out of Chicago. And what do you think about that? Since you're here right now, real quick.
Well, I mean, Chicago definitely needs that tough, gritty coach that they had as well, and especially with the general management staff keeping it going. I really hope they do follow that right direction. I think it was a good sign, but it also really needs to be just at a trial basis as well, considering the team doesn't have much stability, and I feel like they don't also need much loyalty right now. I think they need to find the best guy available to make the best team available, and if that's who they believe in, then they just got to keep going forward because long story short, there's not a lot of good people to take the reins right now. So I think it was just the best move there.
Fair enough, but obviously before we end our recaps, because Cal, you still got one more game, but you're obviously not previewing it or reviewing it in full. But the Oilers would win this season series 3-1, as they would win the opening matchup on October 11th, 3-1. Then the Canucks would win in a comeback fashion, and I don't know if you remember that game, Kellen, but Kiefer Sherwood got himself a hat trick that night on October 26th.
Beauty of the game, it was great to watch, especially right at the bar there. Big energy down in Van, but yeah, not much else to see after that.
Yeah, but no, obviously the Canucks would get a 4-3 win in overtime, and at that point they were in the race, but that didn't last very long, to be honest. But January 17th, the Oilers would, go back to Van, and we would shut the Canucks out 6-0 on their home ice. And then, of course, just yesterday they played the fourth and final matchup, and the Oilers would get a 6-1 win. And yeah, good win by the Oilers, and I don't really have much else to say. I think I covered it all while I was reviewing the game. And are you coming back over here? Quit eating boom chicka pop. This guy's just snacking away mid episode. Sorry, I respect it. But yeah, obviously just, do the same thing he did for the first couple for this last matchup here.
Yeah, of course, last game we haven't even covered yet. Another Pacific Division team going against the big guns, Seattle versus Avalanche. I mean, we didn't expect to win out of Seattle, 2-0 for the score. Just a big clinic there for the Avs goaltending once again. Just showing why they're the best tandem in the league for sure. Scott Wedgwood leading the charge there behind the pods, and then Nick Blankenberg really putting on a show there, especially since, coming out of that Nashville trade. He's seemingly starting to get his bearings straight, especially getting the chemistry going with the Avs.
Well, and I do believe he's the seventh defenseman on that Avs roster, but I'm sure they were sitting a couple guys last night as they've already secured a spot in the playoffs and the President's Trophy, so might as well sit guys against a Kraken team when you don't want your guys to get hurt right before the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely, and it really just, gives the coach an extra confidence seeing that his depth can still produce.
Yeah, absolutely, but that's all for the schedule, and then of course, there's nothing for, I guess, today, obviously, but Saturday, April 18th, which we'll just preview the first day real quick. We have the Sens who will face off against the Canes. The Wild will face off against the Stars, and the Flyers will face the Penguins in the Battle of Pennsylvania. And based off of times, because obviously all of the times listed here are Eastern time, and I believe that, based off of when you work, you and I will be catching this Penguins-Flyers game. And I'm actually looking forward to it. I think it'll be a fun watch.
Yeah, I think out of the three to watch there, that's pretty much the most exciting one, especially if you're a Crosby fan. Last time you're probably going to see him in any sort of playoff fashion. It'll be just good to see the man, Mr. Captain Canada himself, get one more dance at the show, and hopefully they can put this Flyers team to bed, especially since Ray Tocchet there commanding the other side. Don't got a lot to say for him.
Yeah, but obviously your favorites, the Canes, are the favorites over the Sens. No surprise. The Wild and Stars are actually quite close, although the Stars are slight favorites, and then of course the Penguins are favorites, which we'll see. But upsets can always happen, and you never know. But before we wrap this episode up, of course, go check out our Spotify, which is also IKNHL Daily Talk, where we do upload episodes sometimes there, and most of the time they are exclusive. So if you want to find us, obviously watch us there, and then. Of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave a like if you enjoy the videos. That's the best way to let us know that you enjoy the content. And on that note, of course, we also have an Instagram, which profile.
It's the same handle, IKNHL Daily Talk. Kyle and Iacob there put on a really good clinic, really show up the league's news.
Yeah, well, we try our best. We try to, speak about everything. And we try to speak about every team. And Iacob's biased. I try to be unbiased. But yeah, no, we're just trying to have fun here. And truthfully speaking, if this goes somewhere, it's awesome. But I mean, even did you have fun?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I bet Kyle does, but I appreciate your guys' support for my friend here. I think it's really beautiful that he started up this career, and I hope you guys also love it too. Be kind to the guy. It's his first time, absolutely. And just really try to enjoy the show, Yet again, appreciate the support, especially from my friend. I know it means a lot to me, and just keep on listening, keep on enjoying.
Yes, well, thank you for that. But yeah, you know what, Kellen? Wrap it up. You can do the outro this time around, which we've reached 45 minutes.
Yeah, well, I guess that wraps up the episode. Thank you very much for listening. This little special episode with me on. Hopefully, if you do enjoy me, you can let Kyle or Iacob know on the Instagram there if you want to see me more or if you want to cover more topics outside the NHL. I'd
Mm-hmm.
love to bring some KHL experience within this podcast. But other than that, I appreciate you letting me on. It was a great experience to be here.
All right, well, yes, thank you, Kellen, and thank you all for listening. We'll see you guys next time. Peace out, y'all.